rejection of arming the opposition in Syria for a peaceful solution to the crisis. Syrian Arab Army units continue to target terrorist hideouts in several areas and eliminate scores of them. A legal solution with the aim of undermining the legitimacy of the Syrian government. He referred that these acts will lead to nothing good. Rather, they may be helping extremist groups to rise to power. Lavrov underlined the need to resolve the crisis in Syria through dialogue and negotiations, warning that the more the dialogue is delayed, the higher the cost will be in terms of Syrian lives. In Beirut, Lebanese Minister of Foreign and Expatriate Affairs Adnan Mansour discussed with his Austrian counterpart Mikhail Spindlinger bilateral relations and the situation in the region, especially in Syria and its repercussions on the Arab region. Spindlinger expressed his country's rejection of arming the opposition in Syria, calling for finding the appropriate framework to hold dialogue among all Syrian parties to find a political solution to the crisis in Syria. He added that sending more weapons is not a solution, indicating that Austria has no intention to reduce the number of its troops in the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL. He warned against France and Britain's call to arm the Syrian opposition, as it constitutes big risks on the future of the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force operating in the occupied Syrian Golan, particularly the Australian force. In turn, Mansour said that Lebanon puts great importance on the international community to ensure the requirements of the evacuees from Syria. Border Guard patrols repelled terrorist groups which attempted to sneak from village of Ezaiz in Lebanon into Tal Kalakh in Syria, killing a number of terrorists and injuring others. A similar infiltration attempt by terrorists coming from the west of Al-Blaj in Lebanon was likewise prevented, leading to the death of a number of terrorists. A source in the government raid said that the infiltration attempts coincided with heavy fire from the terrorists against Border Guard patrols. The source added that a number of terrorists fled to the Lebanese territories. Meanwhile, an army unit destroyed 2 dens for terrorists in Sarkis and Al-Midan neighborhood in Al-Hosn village. In Homs, the Syrian Arab Army units continued to chase terrorists in a Rastan area at Dar al-Kabira, Al-Joidia, Talbisi and other nearby villages. An army unit targeted a terrorist group in Al-Qarabis neighborhood. Another unit killed 7 terrorists near the center building on the road leading to Jurat al-Shayyah, destroying several cars and killing the terrorists inside them. Meanwhile, an army unit foiled a terrorist attempt to detonate 4 explosive devices weighing 25 kilograms each on Tel Jdid Abu al-Alaya road. Also in Idlib, a military source said that an army unit intercepted a terrorist group which tried to attack the youth camp in the city's countryside, killing and wounding most of the members of the group and destroying a pickup car equipped with a heavy machine gun. The source added that armed forces units targeted terrorist gatherings and hideouts in the areas of Ma'arat Nauman, Ma'arat Dibsi, Majdalia, Kafar Amim, Jarjanaz, Ma'arat Masriyin, Benish, Saraqib, and Nerab Tmenis, Akfaloon and Kurin, eliminating a large number of terrorists and injuring others. Syrian Arab Army restores control over Tel Nabi Mendo in Homs countryside following confrontations with terrorists who tried to infiltrate into the area. Terrorists have been trying to infiltrate into Tel Nabi Mendo, but their attempts were foiled by the Syrian Arab Army. Confrontations are still continuous in the areas neighboring the Tel, where terrorists are opening fire from Arjun, Al-Qsir and Al-Hamidiyya against the Syrian Arab Army forces. Moscow repaid in kind on Washington's Magnitsky list, which imposed sanctions on a number of Russian officials. The Russian Foreign Ministry published a list of 18 Americans who were barred from entering the Russian territories, referring that they were involved in legitimizing acts of torture against detainees in Guantanamo. The Russian Foreign Ministry expressed regret for the damage caused by Washington after the issuance of Magnitsky list. In Bahrain, demonstrations continue in various areas to protest against injustice and violations of the ruling family there. Hundreds of people took to the streets of Manama protesting against the government's hosting of formula races, renewing demands to achieve freedom and justice in the country. Bahraini forces used gas and sound bombs to disperse the protesters. In Libya, and after the NATO's democracy, unidentified armed men launched 4 missiles on a residential building in Mazda city, which resulted at the killing of 1 child and the injury of his family members. An official source stressed that the situation in Mazda city is unstable, which led to the displacement of a number of families in the city as the country is in chaos after the widespread of armed men and weapons. In Cairo, Egyptians demonstrated through Molotovs and the gate of Al-Ittihadiyya presidential palace, which overlooks Al-Mirghani Street. Security forces used gas bombs to disperse the demonstrators. Meanwhile, security forces fortified their positions near the presidential palace, anticipating riot acts that will coincide with the resumption of ousted Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak's trial, along with his 2 sons. Deputy Commander of the Iranian Land Forces General Gomerth Haidari said that the Iranian army has successfully tested 3 surface-to-surface missiles during the latest military maneuvers carried out by the Iranian forces. He pointed out that these missiles have been made locally by Iranian expertise, adding that the new army personnel carrier would be disclosed next Thursday, marking the Army's Day. Haidari warned that if the Israeli enemy committed any foolish act or any act of aggression, Iran's response would be devastating to them. Venezuelan government has said that it foiled the scheme to obstruct the presidential elections to be held tomorrow. Chore Ariaza, Venezuelan vice president, said that security forces detained 2 Colombians who disguised as Venezuelan military personnel with bombs in their possession, and that they were plotting to obstruct the elections. It's worth noting that the Venezuelan authorities have closed its borders following intelligence information that some elements were plotting to create a chaos and instability ahead of the elections, which opinion polls have indicated that acting President Nicolás Maduro would win. That was it for our news for today. You can get more on our website www.syriaonline.sy. Stay with us after the break, the latest in economy and finance in our economic news.
Good afternoon. The Council of Latakia City set a work plan in order to find solutions for providing lands necessary for the projects of the cooperative and the labor housing. The chairman of the City Council said that the plan aims at accelerating the establishment of the labor, cooperative and youth housing units, in addition to studying the capability of finding other estates to be allocated for the general establishment of housing and the residential housing union, adding that the plan includes amending the organizational qualities of the housing units in order to achieve the economic advantage. The manager of the mills company stressed that implementing the 5 mills will be accomplished in a short period, noting that the mills were agreed to be established with the Iranian side in Daraa, Suwaida, Tabqa and Al-Qamishli with a 300-ton capacity every day for each mill, mil. The manager also said that the credit was opened for that as the contract reached 62.6 million euros, indicating that negotiations with the Russian side continue to sign a contract for equipping Tel Kelech mill with a 600-ton capacity every day. Austria rejected the statements made by the French finance minister threatening to put Austria in the blacklist for tax evasion, covering up deposits for foreign funds in the banks, and rejecting to share banking data with its European counterparts. In a meeting of the EU finance ministers in Ireland, some European countries such as Britain, France and Spain insisted upon pressuring on Austria to make an agreement to show foreign fund deposits in its banks and to work on banking exchange with other European countries, the thing which Vienna still rejects until now. The price of gold dropped 100 Syrian pounds per gram in the local market, reaching 4,850 Syrian pounds for the 21-carat gold, as the Jewelers Assembly set the price of the Rashadi golden coin at 35,400 Syrian pounds and the English coin at 39,600 Syrian pounds. The Central Bank of Syria set the purchasing price of the US dollar at 95 Syrian pounds and the selling price at 95.63 Syrian pounds, while the price of purchasing the euro was set at 124.57 Syrian pounds and the selling price was set at 125.44 Syrian pounds. With this, we conclude our news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.